This is side 2 checking in.
Roger, side 2, we hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Great, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Nautilus and SPL. This is Lisa Voney. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lisa.
Oh, that's great. Is that you, Marley or Mary?
Erica.
Oh,
Erica.
Erica. Yeah, Erica Frew.
Hey, Erica.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just to confuse you with all the voices.
Yes. Not that I'm already not confused. Lots going on the last 24 hours. Do we want to, on the Nautilus channel, review the objectives for the dive, or do you want to wait till you guys are set up?
I think video might be trying to straighten a few things out with the V-Link things. We're used to calling them video. Yeah, we're troubleshooting a couple things over here right now. If we could just stand by for a few minutes, that would be great.
Yeah, just let us know when you're ready.
Okay, thanks.
No pyrosomes yet. Maybe some. God.
All right, so just doing a status check on V-Link. It looks like we have lead B and Psi 3 signed in. So can you guys confirm who is on which one?
Erica is on lead B.
Great, and is it Lisa on Psi 3?
Here are your pyrosomes, Ben.
Ay, they're everywhere. Make room for someone else. You talking to me? Uh,
All right, science, this is Marley in video and audio again. Just want to confirm that you guys can hear us and talk to us. Lisa, are you on SPL right now? If so, can you say something?
Yes, I just joined SPL.
Perfect.
Hello.
Okay, great. Roger, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, this is Erica as Side 2.
Perfect. Thank you guys for confirming. It looks like V-Link is working as it should, so hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah, we can always hope.
Yeah. Well, you guys sound great
And
right now.
yeah, and we'll just you've been troubleshooting on the fly.
Every 30 seconds. It's not making me nervous or anything.
Like there. Just let us know if we're not sounding good or if we have long silences. Erica, you and I should just chat with each other via science chat and say, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll just check in with each other, no worries.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for confirming the connection. I think we're good to go. Jess, are you on SPL?
Negative, I was not. Low.
No worries. I just want to let you know we're good to go in video land. So I don't know if you guys want to do introductions yet or what we've got. We've got plenty of time, I know.
Rather that.
Yeah. I think we could do introductions. Can we start with the front row, the crew of the Nautilus?
yeah, so I'm Ben Gracian. I'm a navigator and mapper on Nautilus.
I'm Jess Sandoval, part of the ROV team, sitting Herc.
I'm Kim Wallace, ROV team, sitting Argus.
And I'm Marley Parker, working on video and audio.
I'm Mary Dury, and I'm the data logger.
Cool. So those of you who are joining in, you just heard from what we are calling the front row. If we were all sitting together, they are sitting in the front row of the control van. Maybe you can give us a shot of the control van on channel 3. And the science team this year is joining the Nautilus crew from ashore. And the science team consists of myself. My name is Lisa Vonink. I work at the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, the West Coast Regional Office, and I'm the policy coordinator for the 5 West Coast sanctuaries. And joining me is...
I am Erica Frew. I work for the Northwest Fisheries Science Center, and I am a part of their AUV team. I work with an autonomous underwater vehicle, and we send that robot down to the bottom of the ocean to take lots of pictures.
Yeah, and as you can see, those of you who are joining us, you can either watch channel 3, I think by itself, or you can go to the quad view, which is channel 4, and there you can then see a view of the what the Hercules ROV is broadcasting. That's in the upper left-hand corner. Upper right-hand corner is what the Argus ROV is showing, and then the bottom left is the control van. And I think it's really cool to see the control van because you can see these huge monitors and everybody's computer monitors and how everybody is just, working and on the fly making adjustments. And I wish I could send you a picture of my home office. I'm part of the science team, not sitting in the van because this year under COVID, I'm working from my home office, but I have something very similar to the control van, only not as big. And Erica, what is your situation? Oh, and I should let you all know I'm joining you all from Aptos, California.
Yeah, since the beginning of March, I've been slowly collecting monitor screens and laptops and building my own home office / mission control stacked on milk crates and any spare tables we had left over and cables running all over the place.
I know that Nicole Renault or Samantha Wishnak would like us to all take pictures of our, what you're calling control stations, because I think it would be neat to share at some point, because we have quite an active community of ashore scientists who have created their own control bands, if you will. So we just started a dive at 1600. We are going down to the deepest of the deeps. We're going down more than 2 miles to approximately 3,900 meters. And we are visiting an area of the Santa Lucia, not really the bank anymore.
Sorry, I didn't
It's
update
the
it.
Santa Lucia escarpment.
3870.
And Ben, how long will it take for us to get down to 3,900 meters?
At our current rate, it's going to be like 110 minutes. So we're going 31 meters a minute. So on the quicker end of how we're descending.
Yeah, and Ben, I'm sorry, but my SPL blinked out. How long did you say that would take?
Yeah, it's going to be about an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah.
How long would it take to ascend, which takes longer, and we're not going to ascend from 3,900 meters, but more from, let's say, 2,800 meters?
Yeah, so I was looking at our like actual descent rate right now, which is about 30 meters per minute, but usually we calculate about 15 meters per minute on the way up. So saying we'd be at, let's say, 2,900, it would take us 193 minutes, which would be
3 hours.
3 hours.
And some change, 3 hours and 15 minutes.
3 hours and 15 minutes, exactly.
3¼ hours.
Oh, yeah, and once we get to the bottom, it'll take us just a couple minutes to set up and get everyone all squared away.
Right. So maybe I should explain why we are going to the Santa Lucia escarpment. We are exploring this area. It's an area that has been proposed or nominated as the Shoemash. I just found out today that it's Shoemash Heritage National Marine Sanctuary. And it's the Santa Lucia area, the bank and the escarpment have become an area of interest in the last 5 years. One is because of what I just mentioned. It's been proposed as or nominated as a national marine sanctuary by the Northern Chumash Tribal Council. And it's also an area that is of intense interest for offshore wind energy installations. And we have this opportunity with the crew and the amazing vehicles that the Ocean Exploration Trust has to explore this area and see what kind of biology is on in these deeper regions offshore of Morro Bay. We're going to go to an area about 70 miles offshore. And if you were able to join the dive that we did earlier today, we were in shallower water, about 1,000 meters, and we saw amazing coral gardens and just beautiful corals and sponges. We're not sure we would find that where we're going to be diving today, but this dive is really to explore these deeper areas and get a sense of what kind of animals live in these deep waters of the Santa Lucia escarpment. So what we're seeing as we're descending are some pyrosomes. These are warm water tunicates, but I think we already went past them. And maybe the Nautilus crew can explain the two ROV setup that you have and what are the advantages of having an Argus and a Hercules ROV. Or not.
Pilot and navigator are having a discussion right now, but I'm sure they will be happy to chat about that in a minute.
Okay, sure, great.
So Lisa, this dive is almost double the other dives that we've done in this area. What are you expecting to see down deeper tonight?
That is a very good question. I'm not really expecting a lot. I'm hoping, I guess, that we see some good habitat. And what I mean with good habitat is I hope that we find some areas with exposed rock and not areas that are covered up with mud. We already mapped some of this area so that we have a sense of the bottom profile. We know where there are canyons and ridges and where there's valleys, and we know the depth ranges of the area that we're visiting. But when you're mapping, and
yeah, I think we lost Lisa. Oh.
I'm noticing when the SBL drops off, but sometimes when you think you're going to be seeing a hard bottom habitat, it might be covered with a thin layer of mud or silt. And there is the possibility that we will find that at the bottom of what I would call sort of a cliff, or which is the escarpment, but we might not. And the reason we're looking for hard bottom is that hard bottom are areas where corals and sponges can settle. These are sessile organisms, and they can grow. They're long-lived, and they form habitat for other animals. So they're what we call biogenic habitat. So the more exposed rock that you have that corals and sponges can settle on and grow and become, if you will, like a forest. They're not that big that they're the size of trees, a lot of them, but some of them are. They become habitat for other invertebrates and vertebrates. Not that many fish we're going to find this deep because it's so deep and it's dark and there's a lot of pressure and not a lot of animals or have adapted to living at these depths, but you never know. We'll see what we find. It truly is an exploration. What do you think we'll find, Erica?
Giant squid.
That I don't know. Giant squid would be super cool.
Yeah, I think that's what Ben has been hoping for all along, right?
Maybe a little.
I've heard you on other chat or on other watches, and I think it comes up whenever you're on watch.
I think the other day I was talking about the great white that I am convinced I saw. Still convinced.
Yeah.
Maybe a salmon shark, but I don't believe it.
Yeah. Well, are
With
you
the
the one that
ROV?
was that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was super
But are
cool.
you the one that saw the shark?
Yeah, we just saw it off the ship during like dinner break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
the
super
great
exciting.
white.
I'm pretty sure, but my photo evidence to show other people is really limited. I have a millimeter of a dorsal fin.
Very few believe.
I mean, I saw it with my eyes. It was big. It had counter shading. It was like powerful through the water. And apparently that spot was like, I guess in the southern, as you get south in California, you get more of the juveniles.
Yes.
And smaller size classes. Yeah. So I'm convinced. I'm checking that off my bucket list.
Yeah. Well, you might have more opportunity when we go to Channel Islands later this week.
Oh, yeah?
To see them, yes.
Yeah.
Or you can always come and swim in our beaches or in the water by our beaches.
There we go.
Yes. I live in an area where there are quite a lot of sightings of these juvenile white sharks during the summertime.
Yeah.
And there are postings. And my son, it does junior guards, and it was,
oh, wow.
yeah, just, but it's their habitat, right?
Yeah.
Where they live. Sort of exciting to know that they're still there and they're an important top predator.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, aren't the Farallones one of the top white shark research places in the world?
Yes.
Wow.
That is true.
Postdoc.
We also,
Right.
excuse me?
I was joking.
Postdoc, you said.
I was like, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well,
I don't only care about the charismatic things. Just it's exciting to see them.
Yeah. You never know. You could make it on Shark Week.
There we go. No, I'll stick to the plankton.
We were up in Olympic Coast in 2017 with Nautilus and OET, and on one of our dives we were treated to a drive-by from a really large sleeper shark.
Oh, wow.
That came in from behind and swam right in front of her and kind of made everybody sit up and take notice.
Yeah, those are really cool. A couple years ago, there was a whale shark at Papahanaumakuakea.
Papahanaumakuakea.
There we go. I tried. And yeah, I was asleep.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. Yeah, they are
have 'em.
definitely charismatic,
Yeah.
those whale sharks. But you have a whole lifetime to meet your bucket list.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I was having a marine mammal check-off list with a colleague, and she wanted to know if working with DNA counted, because she's a marine mammal geneticist and she's worked all over the world with DNA samples.
She's seen everything.
Yes. I said, I think that's cheating.
Annotation doesn't count.
Can you tell me what the animal actually looks like?
Right.
Or just the DNA?
Oh, I like when people tell me how things feel in their hands. I'm like, oh, okay, you have real practical experience. It's like, oh yeah, that sponge feels like blank.
Abby amazes me when she knows, oh, that one's going to be squishy, or that one's going to be crumbly, or
Right.
that one's going to be floaty. And every time she does that, I have to do a double take and say, how do you know this? We've never seen this sponge before, and you're telling them what it's going to feel like.
She's sponge clairvoyant.
Yes.
She is.
And weren't they also talking about how they would smell, the sponges?
Yeah, I think Amanda was saying that, right? She was thinking that was somewhat diagnostic.
We
Like
now
they'd have these
smell
odd smells. Yeah.
We've been smelling the sponges.
Oh yeah,
while
Mary,
we
what have you
sample.
been smelling?
We've been.
Please
That's
share.
right.
There are a couple of times when it's hard to tell if, it's like, does it smell like rubber? Or is this my glove?
They
There have
all
been
smell
some.
like latex.
I think there have been a couple where it's like, that's odd, but it doesn't smell like the ocean. But something.
Do any of them smell like freshly cut grass or bananas? I think those are the two that Amanda was saying.
I wish.
Huh. Interesting.
Not at all then.
Some have like no smell at all. Not even like a sea smell.
They
Oh,
deodorize.
Oh, that's disappointing. I was hoping that they did smell.
There have, I'll look back through the notes and let you know.
The olfactory notes.
I'll look back.
I heard some hesitation there.
She was up all night smelling sponges.
That's what's meant by
It's very
processing
diagnostic.
samples.
So are any of the Nautilus crew on this watch, are any of you coral or sponge experts? Because I know Steve is. Steve Oskowitz.
Mary's a budding expert.
Okay, Mary, you're a budding expert in what?
In coral, I was working as an undergrad with Steve, and he was teaching me all about coral.
That is so cool. So we are going to rely on you.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, because Erica, what is your expertise? I'm sorry that I don't even know.
I think everything.
Yeah, I thought so too. You're
I
an
would,
AUV expert.
I would say West Coast fish as a start, but I'm learning a ton every day from Abby and Meredith, and trying to apply that to our AUV imagery and working with the ROVs that we've been fortunate enough to work with, because these cameras are a completely different ballgame than our AUV images. And Abby's saying that some of the shallow reef sponges smell pretty terrible because they contain lots of bacteria.
Oh. Can imagine that.
Yeah. Not going to hold any of those close to my nose.
Maybe she did do her PhD on olfactory characteristics of sponges.
Chapter 1, banana smelling sponges.
So I've been learning a lot. I hope a lot of you have noticed that I'm not an expert in any of this biology. I am the policy coordinator at the West Coast Regional Office, but I do have a marine biology background. I studied fish behavior, their reproductive behavior, and used genetics. but I haven't really done active research for more than a decade. I worked in Mary Yaklovich's team with Tom Leidick and Di Waters before I moved over to Sanctuaries, where I use my science expertise to help inform and shape best management practices and policies to conserve ocean resources.
Super cool.
Yeah. And it's been fun for me to get back to my science roots, and I could not have done any of this without just the generosity of a lot of folks, particularly at NOAA Fisheries, who are participating in these dives with us. They have the expertise. People like Erica, Tom, and Di from the Southwest Fisheries Science Center, and a lot of folks from the Northwest Fisheries Science Center.
Too current.
Yeah, and also all the folks on the Nautilus.
Yeah, didn't drop down to 2.
You know, it's been great for us.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's been great for us. Thank you for having us. We get to go to sea without actually going to sea.
Yeah. So maybe, Ben, you can explain how this works with us all being able to do this together yet not be in the same room.
Yeah, so Marley might know this a little better.
Okay, Marley then.
Yeah. Video.
Yeah, I
Audio.
mean, basically, we're just on a really sophisticated conference call. We have a new system in place this year. We've always had the ability to have scientists on shore participate to a degree in the dives remotely via the science chat, which has been incredibly beneficial and continues to be very helpful with our limited number of people on board this year. And yeah, we do, in addition to the science chat, we now have a couple of new systems in place, one of which is the V-Link, which provides a direct audio connection for you guys to be able to talk to us in real time. And then I don't know too much about this, but they set up an additional video system for our scientists on shore to be able to watch our video in near real time. I believe you guys have a 2 or 3 second delay, but that's different from what goes out on the satellite feeds, which is delayed by roughly 20 to 30 seconds. So it's really, really a fantastic system with the V-Link stuff. That's still a little not a perfect system yet, but we've re-engineered it to fit our needs as best as possible. And the really awesome thing is that you guys can see our video in almost real time and point and say we want to sample that, or you know, zoom in on that sponge or coral or whatever we're looking at. So, and we really, you know, appreciate having your expertise and your commentary and your company, even if it's remotely. So thank you for standing watches with us. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, right back at you. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun to, I've been bopping around on all of the watches. I don't have a consistent watch, so I've been able to meet a lot of you and get to know your areas of expertise. And it's pretty, just phenomenal how this has been put together. I know that for some folks who work at NOAA, this is the only field work that they've been able to do because of COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say, in addition to everything I just said about our systems, occasionally we get some flare-ups with the audio, or, some part of our technology doesn't work absolutely perfect 100% of the time. But, at the end of the day, we are out here, and I agree, we are one of the only research vessels with a full expedition season this year. I mean, it's pretty remarkable what the Ocean Exploration Trust, the work they put in, the immense amount of effort and energy that went into coordinating this season and making these expeditions happen in the midst of a global pandemic. I mean, that cannot be understated, the amount of work that went into even getting us out here at all. So on the days when we have some little technical issues, big picture, it's just awesome that we're even out here.
That's right.
And thank you guys for, everybody on the ship sat through an extensive quarantine period, right?
Uh-huh.
We did. We have taken, the safety protocols are very, very serious, and we've all been in quarantine. We've all tested negative for COVID, but even with all of that, we still, maintain social distancing protocol as best we can. We all wear masks and sanitize everything on the ship, and we also have a far fewer number of people on board than we normally would. So yeah, OET is taking it very seriously to make sure everybody's safe and still able to make some really awesome science happen. So it's, again, a very big, impressive effort when you think about all the different parts of it.
Well, it's cool because it's kind of a test of this idea of telepresence, which has been core to kind of the Nautilus program. The idea that you can have scientists watch kind of real-time operations and all the data from these command centers onshore. And so it's neat that that has situated us well to be able to conduct these operations. Yeah. I know, there's been a professor who's been 9 months pregnant and has been able to lead a week-long dive from the EURORISE Interspace Center. So I think this idea is just becoming more important. And it just adds to the value of, if you don't have people who can, you can't bring out all the experts, but if you can ping them or have them watch, that's really useful.
Yeah, I mean, it goes kind of in line with so much of what the pandemic has forced professionals all over the world to do. I mean, millions and millions of people are now working remotely who never worked remotely before. And, you find ways to adapt and evolve and make it work. And I think
fire milk crates for monitor stands.
Well, if anybody knows how to adapt and deal with, new unforeseen circumstances, I think it's people who do deep ocean expedition work. Even in a normal year, there are plenty of things that can go wrong, or the weather gets bad, or, you always have to be adaptable when you do this sort of work. So, again, I think it really speaks to the leadership at OET for making it all happen and adapting.
Yes, we're very grateful, and I'm grateful to the scientists ashore and the scientists who are participating on the watches, that the flexibility that everybody has displayed, and the generosity, and just on the fly changing where we're going to dive, how long, because of weather or because of equipment issues, and also just how you all on the Nautilus repaired some of these equipment issues that you were experiencing. That was just super impressive. And I guess it's there's that expression, it takes a village. It definitely takes a big team of folks and passion and know-how to pull this off.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people working very hard behind the scenes as well.
So I see Chad King joined the side chat room, and I wanted to say Chad inspired me to go deep on this dive. I had the choice of going to this depth, 3,800, or going to the top of the escarpment at 2,000 meters. And Chad just really has this great spirit of exploration and just let's just go and see and really puts on that explorer hat. And that's what I've decided to do. And mainly because the ROVs that you have on the Nautilus can go so deep, and we don't always have the ability to go this deep. So with you here and the offer and the partnership that the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries has with Ocean Exploration Trust, I just thought I got to try. Got to just see what might be there at that depth.
Yeah,
And Chad has...
We certainly love that spirit. That's great.
Yeah, and Chad definitely has shown that with Davidson Seamount. Just goes for it. And it's paid off for him. That's they found last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, they found the octopus garden at the flanks of the Davidson Seamount and the whale fall, which they revisited this year. So that's going to be my sort of sign off for this watch. I'm actually filling in for Liz Clark, who's going to join, but I'm encouraging Liz and Erica and the rest of the team to take on Chad's spirit of exploration when we get down there. Let's just explore and be amazed at what we find or what we don't find. But it's an explorative or exploration dive. So I'm going to sign off so that Liz can join in. Thank you, everybody. I'll be on the midnight to 4 watch. Bye.
Thanks, Lisa. So we are just passing 13, almost 1,400 meters. So that's already deeper than we've been down in this area. We're not even halfway there yet.
Hey, Erica, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, this is Liz Clark from the Northwest Fisheries Science Center, and it's great that we can go even deeper.
So Liz, we were talking earlier and we want to know if you have smelled any sponges.
If I've smelled them, like sniff,
Yes.
sniff smelled?
Yes. Apparently it can be diagnostic.
No, I've smelled fish because some fish have a diagnostic smell, or some fish that smell like cucumbers. But no, I've never done that to a sponge. And there's some birds that smell like tangerines.
What?
So it doesn't surprise me. Have you, Erica?
I haven't. Not with sponges.
The smell? Do they smell good or bad?
Abby says the shallow reef ones can smell pretty bad.
Ooh.
But Mary, was there something specific you were looking for when you guys were testing this?
Mary maybe didn't hear you, Erica.
Abby's saying that all things can help to ID a sponge: texture, color, color in the water, color in the air, because they will oxidize or change once you get them out of the water. And then they'll change again once you put them in ethanol to sample them.
Oh. Well, you find that with fish, don't you, sometimes, Erica, with fish on deck having a different color than fish underwater?
Oh, absolutely.
Not much plankton or marine snow in the water here.
We did go through the pyrosome layer.
Oh,
and it
anybody
seemed
look at the oxygen when that was happening?
Not enough to remember it. It was a bit deeper than it has been, I think.
Well, we should look and see if the mix layer is a little deeper here when we finally look at the physical data and can plot it up. And having got on late, I don't know if we've chatted about where we are and what we're doing. Have we done intros at all?
We have done intros. We have talked a bit about Santa Lucia and the area that we've chosen and why. and that this is a pure exploration dive tonight. We don't know what we're going to see. So it'll be a big surprise for everybody.
Yeah, it will be. Hey, I see that the pilots are playing around with what we call the sticky fingers. Wonder what they're doing.
Squishy fingers.
Squishy fingers, sorry.
Yeah, we've made a slight modification to it. They got another finger. Now they're a 3-finger intermeshing.
Oh, you're right. Wow. Are we going to try it out this dive?
I hope so. The issue we were having before was just the 2 fingers would touch and then they would cross over, like when you snap your fingers.
Yeah.
So Jake had an extra finger and we did a little modification there. So that's a weight. Well, that's a weight tie wrap holding the 2 fingers spread out there.
Oh, yes, I see that.
We need to find something very delicate.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can even do at sea with spare parts and ingenuity.
Yeah, the whole
engineering in action.
The whole piston you see there on the left side under the little blue piston down there, that's all 3D printed. All the parts on that are 3D printed.
Wow, are the purple parts that I see, are they 3D printed too?
Yeah, that's the main muscle for the actuation of the sticky finger. So the bellows that you see down to the left compresses this regular water, and it's all in an oil. That cylinder down there is full of mineral oil, so it's pumping water through the bellows, compresses the water through the blue hose, and it energizes the purple bits in such a way that acts like a muscle and closes.
Wow. And who is the main inventor of this?
I'll let Jake talk about that. That's his baby.
Well, it's not actually my project, but it's a friend of mine in a lab that I work in at the University of Rhode Island. And it's Brennan Phillips' lab, and the engine that you can see with the bellows that expands and retracts, that's a project by my friend Russell Schomburg, and the fingers are actually a separate project with a group at Harvard. I think it's a soft robotics lab there, and they designed and 3D printed the molds and for the fingers in the kind of a joint project together, the 2 labs. And yeah, that's kind of the origin of the project. It's kind of a joint mission between URI and Harvard.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that little bellows down there in the oil-filled canister, I guess, moving back and forth. Are you doing that? How are you controlling the bellows?
I love it when they bulge.
There's a computer topside that we use, and it's got connection through Ethernet through the Ethernet bottle on Hercules. So we can send commands through TCP/IP to a controller, which is in a housing on the back of Hercules, and then that housing sends, I think, serial information to the engine, which is in that housing. You can't see it where the bellows is. It's kind of tucked away underneath the Mongo arm, but the engine, the linear actuator kind of drives forward and backwards, and we can set like software limits on it to make sure we don't go too far, and because some of the 3D printed parts have broken in the past while building it.
I'm surprised the temperature doesn't make these parts fracture easily.
Yeah, so we actually did experience that at deep depths. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on this dive because it's 3,800 meters. But they do retract a little bit because the water compresses a bit, and so the volume in the hose of water actually comes down, and so the pressure in the joints also comes down.
Wow.
So to talk to it, basically it's on the line and you're using the interweb?
Yep.
My dad would say.
Simple way to put it.
Well,
sweet.
And
so,
do you have a name for this other than, like, is it, you know, I know one of the manipulators is you call Predator, which is probably the name of the company, and other one you call Mongo. Do you have a name for this?
yeah, we're not supposed to call it Mongo. It's supposed to be, it's the Magnum.
Magnum, okay.
Yeah. Mongo's no longer politically correct.
And this arm, I guess it's appropriately named.
Is it squishy or sticky fingers?
It's actually squishy. Somehow sticky kind of got, I don't know, when we came on board, someone called it sticky and it kind of just stuck. No pun intended.
It's even labeled on our button to turn it on. This
sticky, and so same with I think the ballast spreadsheet. It's labeled sticky.
Oh yeah.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't my imagination. I thought people would call. Okay.
Yeah.
So the squishy fingers here, it looks like just a kitchen sponge, that yellow sponge on there. Is it special sponge material or is it just a kitchen sponge material?
It may be a little different than your generic kitchen sponge, but it's pretty similar. You know, it's
zoom in a bit there, Steve. It's like
might be a little finer grade, but it's
a little bit more.
I'm surprised you don't see that sponge compress a lot.
Well, I don't know. I think the water fills the cavities, and
it's open cell, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Now that you say it. Sorry,